struggling to memorize and remember important things. And Raees, Professor Raees is now going to give us tips to make them remember all these things. Yes, Professor A.K. Raees Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum.
Yes, sir. Sir, is it audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, a very good morning to all present here. Myself, Raees Ahmed, and I'm from, I'm currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, the New College, Chennai. So, basically, when Salim sir approached me to give an academic lecture on for school teachers, I feel a very important topic which all teachers face in this scenario, in this current situation, like the 20th century, 21st century, students are not trying to learn in an easy way. It's my opinion. So I have just come up with a different topic, which is not familiar with most of the teachers, but they know what that means actually. So the topic which I choose today is working on mnemonics and analogies. So let me just share my screen right now. So is my screen visible now, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So uh, basically, to start with, uh, why do we need the topic called mnemonics and analogies? What does this mean actually? I mean, the topic, I have split the topic into two parts. One is mnemonics, and another part is analogies. Uh, Basically, when a student is not attentive, or when a student is not that much present in the class, that means mentally, we need to divert him from that part to our class through some story or giving some like an example, day-to-day life example for him to understand better. So to start with, I will just explain the terms, what is mnemonics and what is analogies and what are types of mnemonics and I'll just present there and how we can train the student to come up to the class and very attentive. So first we need to understand what is mnemonics. So basically I've given a very simple definition here. I'll just try to explain the concept right here. Okay, I'm not just going to go into theoretical part right now. Okay. So first of all, mnemonics is nothing but it is a simple memory device. What is a memory device? If you ask me, so memory device is nothing but it is a trick to help us remember the difficult information. Like for example, uh, if a beach comes to your mind, for example, beach, the first thing which comes to your which strikes to your mind is Chennai. In Chennai, what beach is famous one? It is Marina. So if something which comes to your mind, a memory will come to your mind which relates to that. Like for example, beach. So Chennai has has the largest beach. Then beach is related to Marina. So like this, a lot of things are there. Uh, they are they are incredibly useful for the facts, list or sequences. So it will be difficult to understand this technological definition here. If we move on to the types of mnemonics, it will be much more easier for you to understand better. So let me just move on to the types right now, and so that you can be very easy to understand better. So mnemonics is nothing but what I told you. It's a memory device. Okay, just focus on that part itself now. Okay. Now the first type of mnemonics is called acronyms. From the lower part of our schooling studies, or we all know in mathematical there's a concept called board mass. As we all know, BODMAS, board mass. As our teachers used to teach us, what is board mass generally? What comes to our mind generally? Board mass means it means that B denotes for bracket, O denotes for orders, D denotes for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Suppose if a maths teacher gives a problem to a student, for example, 5 into 2 plus 5 equal to what? Now, what does a student does? Student can do in two ways. One, he will multiply 5 into 2, that is 10, plus 5 gives 15. This is one answer. What will be the another answer? It can be as, let me just color, 5 into 2, sorry, 5 plus 2 will give 7. 7 into 5 will give 35. So there are basically two answers for this question. So what is the right answer? So according to mathematical theory, if you come across a question with a lot of mathematical operations like division, multiplication, brackets, and orders means powers, exponential powers. That means the first option which we need to focus on is brackets, and then orders, and then division, and then multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So as a student, he will not remember or he will not by heart these concepts. So at that time, we can easily understand these concepts with a simple trick, simple like a simple mnemonic, which is which is a type of acronyms. I hope you're clear with this one. So basically, what is acronym? An acronym is a word. An acronym is a word which is formed from the first letter. You just need to focus on this part. First letter of each word in a list or a phrase. So this mnemonic is very famously, what to say, it is usually used by all of you, but you don't know that this part is called a mnemonic generally. I used to ask my college students, what is mnemonic? Usually they say, sir, we don't know what is mnemonic. Actually, they have learned this from their from their schooling itself, but they don't know the terminology called mnemonic. That's it. So I hope you teachers also teach this concept in your day-to-day life to the students. So when we move to the next part, it is called next type of mnemonic is called acrostics or phase mnemonics. What is this mnemonic? When I used to study in my school days, when remembering the planet, I mean the solar system, the first planet is called Mercury, then Venus, then Earth, so on so. That is kind of difficult for a first standard or secondary standard student. So what does the teacher does is that they will try to give us a sentence. Through that sentence, we can take the first letter and we can try to understand much better. Listen very carefully. I have given an example down below. My very educated mother just served us noodles. So from this sentence, what idea we can get? So the idea simple is that from my we can take the first letter as M. So M denotes Mercury. So simple. So from V, we can take the letter called first letter V. It denotes Venus. Then E denotes Earth. M denotes Mars. J denotes Jupiter. S denotes Saturn. U denotes Uranus, and N denotes Neptune. So this is also another kind of mnemonics, I mean, through which we can frame sentences, or you can also make your own sentences. Through that sentence, you need that sentence to focus on. You need to relate that sentence with the application what you're trying to focus on. So just need a differentiation is that acronym is just letters. It's not a sentence. Just put less a bunch of letters which can be coupled together to understand, like board mass. Okay, and acoustics of phrase mnemonics is a type of sentence or a phrase which is used which is used to understand a particular series, a particular list of items. That's all. I hope you understood. So when we move to the next part is rhymes and songs. So basically, I will not teach the students in this part, rhymes and mnemonics. As we are from Islamic point of view, I will not teach students you read this like a song or rhyme. I don't used to do that. But as it is one of the type of mnemonics, and generally in day-to-day scenario, students are very much prone to understanding. Remembering. I mean, by hearting the songs and rhymes easily, because when they are going outside or traveling so and so, just they will do a humming sound and they will just sing a song a lot. So through rhymes, through singing more and more time, they can easily remember the concept. When I used to study in my schooling days, remembering the Indian states is kind of a challenging task. Tamil Nadu, what is the capital of Tamil Nadu? Chennai. Then what is the capital of Arunachal Pradesh? Itanagar. Assam, Dispur, Bihar, Patna, like that. We used to remember that in a series of song like that thing. Our teacher used to teach like a song or rhyme. So through this method also you can easily attract the students, and you can also easily relate the students with a song, and you can easily teach. So it is a third part which is called rhymes and songs. What is that? It means rhymes and songs use a rhythm and melody to help the brain encode and retrieve information. This is a very effective method. This is very effective method which you can relate the students, and you can grasp the student attention very fast. So the example which I given here is the Indian states and their capitals. So this is a very common example which we used to learn in our school days. And moving to the fourth and very interesting concept of a type of mnemonic is called chunking. Is called chunking. So what is chunking? This type of mnemonic is usually seen in every home, as we need to remember the phone number. Phone number has 10 digits. So when we remember 10 digits of phone number, what we usually do? For example, 944. We say in a couple time, that's a chunk of manner. Like if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, like 10 numbers, we used to remember in a chunk like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. We used to say like that, right? See, I have given an example down below. I have given an example here, 98840. Example is here. So this phone number can be remembered as a chunk. So 988 is a chunk, is a group. So from this we can easily remember. Next 401 we can easily remember. Then 2986. So this is another method which we all people in the entire world are doing this kind of mnemonics, but they don't know that this is a type of mnemonic which they are already using through day-to-day life. So what is chunking? Chunking involves breaking down large piece of information. So when you're teaching a concept to students, like a very big concept, you just break that concept into three parts and explain them in a very simple way. This much more effective method which can be used for students to understand better. So which can be broken down in large pieces into small chunks called smaller groups. So with this method, you can easily remember, which can also as proven as a powerful memory strategy. So I hope this method is also familiar with you. And moving to the next and final type of mnemonic is called method of Loki or memory palace. Before starting the session, I have given an example like beach. So whenever beach strikes to your mind, what place will you remember? Marina Beach. You not remember Besanagar also. Marina Beach. Why? Because frequently, if Chennai comes to your mind, you remember a beach called Marina Beach. So that's the power of lo- location. So, for example, if I ask you, which is the famous for IT, sir, ITL ask means you will say that's showing Allur, or if you go to a city, you will say Bangalore, like this. Or if you ask a question, which is famous for cotton or for textile industry, what you will say? You will say Tirupur. And for silk, Kanchipuram. Each and every state has their own identity. Can you understand this better? So this is a kind of method through which you can easily understand a concept, or you will remember the concept which comes to your mind, and you can easily live that moment. For example, so if I say the year called 1947, what comes to your mind is the year of independence. So you teach your students in a manner that if they see some example or some lively thing, your teaching should come to your mind. So that much effect you should put on the mnemonics and types of mnemonics. I hope you are clear with this. So let me just let us see the definition very shortly. So what is method of loci or memory palace is nothing but it's an ancient technique. It's a very ancient technique where you can associate items with specific locations in a familiar place. So what I've given example here down below, you see textiles means what is famous? Cotton. The Tirupur cotton is famous, as we all know. For engineering and heavy industries, what is famous? Coimbatore. So what is Coimbatore generally? Coimbatore is nothing but Manchester of South India. We have learned this concept very well. Why? Because lot of import exports have been carried out in Coimbatore. So like this, we need to train our students in understanding the concepts. So see, I have also given the example called Marina Beach. So Marina Beach famous for Chennai. It's a very familiar and iconic location. So I hope you all are clear with the ideology of mnemonics and what are types of mnemonics. So before teaching your students, you just, I mean, you all need to prepare well, obviously. While preparing, you take additional 5 to 10 minutes, and you just think of a kind of mnemonic which you can teach the student, and so it will be very much easy for student to understand effectively. You just try this in your next class if possible, so you can see the result much better. So next, coming to the next part, which is called analogy. What is analogy? It's very simple part. Mnemonics, you need to frame something. You need to frame something very newly, so that through that the student can remember that. Analogy is nothing but it's a comparison tool. It's just compare. You are teaching a concept to the student. That concept can be related to some movie or some incident or some remembering part, so and so. So from that comparison part, the student will remember. Whenever student remember that movie, your teaching will come to your mind. So that incident will come to your mind. So through that, the student can easily remember and can easily shine well. So what is analogy? So what is analogy? Analogy is nothing but a comparison between two things. So what is that? Typically for a purpose of explanation or clarification. So there are also types of analogies. So I have given you some examples down below. From that examples, you can easily understand what is analogy, much more effective manner. So what are the types of analogies we can see now? So initially, the first and very foremost type is called functional or structural analogy. So this is kind of a new way, I think so, in my opinion. For example, if you're a science teacher, and you need to explain the functioning of a heart. I have given here functioning of a heart. So you can relate that human heart to a building, to a building. The the plumbing. I mean the water connection of the building. Uh, I mean that where the pipes will be there. Pipes will be arranged in all the floors and uh, restrooms and kitchens everywhere, and will be connected to a main source which is called water tank or some which is down below. So from this, what we can compare with them? See, you just see the example here. The human heart is like a pump, okay, in a building plumbing system. So how we can relate this with the heart? You just understand. Just as a pump circulates water throughout the building, the heart circulates blood throughout your body. So uh, as nowadays students are very much sharper and very much easy to learn the concepts. Okay, If you relate this concept with the student, heart should function. Okay, what does heart do? Heart pumps the blood, and it takes it takes in the blood and gives out the good blood, arteries and veins are there. So what are the arteries and veins? These are the extra watering source, that extra pipes which are used to use the blood to travel. So the pipes which are present in the building moves the water, you understand, moves the water towards each flows or each water location you need. So like that, you can relate some day-to-day example or day-to-day activities with some concept which you're teaching there. So through that, the student will definitely remember the concept till the day of so and so. I hope you understood this concept. So from this, what you need to understand is that this type of analogy compares the function compares the function or structure of two different things. It's a very simple concept. So this helps to explain how a system or component works. So this analogy is the very primary analogy, primary comparison, which I mean you all teachers will use this in your day-to-day activities, but I'm just showing you what you are giving that. So this is analogy. You are using this analogy and teaching the students. So this analogy is called structural analogy. So what is the next analogy? I hope you understood this one. We can move to the next part. So what is the next analogy? The next analogy is casual analogy. What is this casual analogy? What is this? Okay. So if you're teaching the student, I mean, if you're a math teacher and you need to teach a student called simple interest and compound interest, so the student will not be familiar with these concepts. Even though you teach the student many more times, the student will try to face some difficulties, because I faced difficulties when I was learning this concept, like the interest part, simple interest and compound interest. I faced some difficulties when learning this. So what you can teach, how you can explain them much better is that you relate this to an example. In northern or southern part of the world, you can see a lot of snow. Okay, the Antarctic and Arctic parts. For example, I'm just saying. So up a hill, when you're rolling a snowball, which is the size of a hand, when you roll the snowball up the mountain, up the hill, what happens? The snow gets accumulated, and it will fall down to the surface like a giant rock of ball. Is it right? Right. So from this, what we can relate is that the compound interest is that, see, just see the example here. Compounding interest, I have given example. So what I'm trying to explain here is that saving money, okay, with compounding interest is like a snowball which rolls down a hill. Longer it rolls, the more snow it picks up, the faster growth. So what is compounding generally in mathematical concept? Compounding is nothing but the money which we have in our bank or which have in our so and so investment platforms will get multiplied over the years. So if you have for 1 year, it won't multiply more. I mean, the interest rate will be much lesser. So like this, you can explain your students in an easy way. So this is the very, I mean, it's also very important analogy, but it's not much more complex, very simple, very much, a very easy example to understand. So what is causal analogy here? It is nothing but which explains a cause and effect relationship in one scenario by comparing with a similar relationship in more familiar situation. So the first one which we saw is structural analogy, which has more complex complex part. This is a very simple part, which is called casual analogy. I hope you understood this concept. So next we move on to the next analogy type of analogy is called proportional analogy. So what is this? This is also very simple analogy, but this will be kind of what to say? It's kind of challenging for students to understand. What is that? Is that we'll see the example here down below. Life cycle. So when we compare life cycle of a caterpillar and a frog, I mean a tadpole. So initially, what are the stages? What are the stages of a caterpillar and stages of a tadpole? So initially, if a science teacher teaches a student, caterpillar will be initially to be like a worm, like this state. I'm not that much familiar on this concept. Just explain, and I don't know what is the main idea of that. Okay, so initially there will be it will be like a warm state. Then it will have some like a bigger size. Then it will go to a cocoon stage, and then it will go to the main butterfly stage. So it has like one, two, three, four stages, for example. Okay. Similarly, when frog grows from a size of a tadpole, it will have also like four stages, for example. So tadpole will be there, then it will have some legs and like that's it. So, like so one thing. Then the size will become bigger, and finally frog. See, I don't know what is the life cycle of tadpole and caterpillar. So I'm just relating these examples. So if you want to teach two life cycles of like so a caterpillar and a frog or so and so, you can relate both of the things. You can just divide the blackboard into two halves. You can draw the life cycle of a frog in the left part and life cycle of a caterpillar in the right part. You will compare both with an easy example. So this analogy is nothing but a proportional analogy from which you can explain two concepts. A is to B, that is, explain this butterfly with a tadpole and explain tadpole with butterfly concept. So this is called ratio concept. So proportionality. This is called proportional analogy. So I hope you are easy with you are very much familiar with this concept also. So moving to the next analogy, it is called literal analogy. So what is literal analogy? So this analogy is what we are usually teaching the students and usually learning from the UKG or LKG state. What is that? It is called solar system. So how we teach the solar system? Generally, what we teach is that solar system, the sun will be in the center part. Okay. Uh, so surrounding the sun, what will happen? Lot of planets will be revolving around the sun. Okay. How we can explain this? Here we can take a simple example of an egg. How egg will be there? Center there will be yolk. So that big yolk part is called sun. Okay. Surrounding egg, what will be there? The white albumin will be there. So what is the white part? Here only the big vast space. What is that? All the planets are there. You can also relate this example with a lively example, which is nothing but Kaaba, which is present in Makkah. So how we can relate this example? So Kaabatullah, you can relate this as the center part, which is called sun, for example. And surrounding, we people will do tawaf around it. So how we can relate this? So Kaabatullah, which is present center, because students can relate that very much easily. They can more they can be attracted to that concept. So center there is Kaabatullah. Surrounding people are doing tawaf. So you can relate this concept with solar system. So every example, you can just make your own example and teach the students. The more easier the example, the more effective the student can learn the concept much better. So I hope you also familiar with this concept also. And moving to the final and last analogy, which is called story or narrative analogy. So this is the analogy which you teachers will teach. I also mostly teach this concept uh, very much frequently. So this concept is nothing but you will take a story or take a movie, for example, one story or narrative part. From that story, you take the main characters like person A or person B, and you replace that person with what concept you're trying to teach. For example, here we are seeing an example called digestive system. So this will be a very important question for a seventh or eighth students, in my opinion. So they need to draw the digestive system and need to explain each and every process from the mouth till the intestine, the stomach, every part, and finally the large intestine and finally rectum. So how you can explain this part? Very simple. See, you can just easily understand this concept with a factory, not car factory, a factory, or an industry. Okay, what will the industry do here? Okay, so basically they will all take the raw parts in a conveyor. Okay, the conveyor was called mouth. Okay, and raw materials and the raw products which we buy, which we get the source is called food. And the materials, if there's a size are uneven, what they will do, they'll break down the parts into even parts. So that is called generally mouth. Sorry, the teeth. What it does, it will crush the food. So it crushes the raw materials to get a much cleaner or even material. And finally, stomach. What does the stomach does? It dissolves the food in our stomach, right? So in factory, what they will dip all the chemicals. They'll treat the they'll treat the raw materials in a chemical to be reused or to the very pure form. So that's the next part. Good. What does next intestine do? Intestine will take what is good and will remove what is bad generally. So it is like assembly line. So intestine will be very more like it will be a lot of things. Okay. So what does it take? It's like a workers where workers will be present in the industry. They'll pick what are the good materials and they will discard the raw materials. So you can understand like that intestine. So finally, what is disposal? So the waste will be dumped out of the factory. So what is that? Rectum. So from these storytelling analogies, storytelling comparative ideas, you can easily remember and you can easily teach the students very much effectively. So and last and final part, when we mix both the mnemonics and the analogies, the result will be very much phenomenal. So what is that? For example, so I'll just take a couple of minutes to end the lecture because already it's past 7:35. I'll just take 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Sorry for the inconvenience. So what is the next part which I'm trying to explain is that when you combine both mnemonics and analogies, sorry for the mistake, it O should come. Sorry. Okay, what happens here? Student in lower classes will have some concepts in remembering the matter states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, but students are very much effective, very much addictive to games, right? So in games there will be a term called super league. Have you heard of the term? If you have not heard, you can ask your children or the students in the next class. So this word is familiar: superior or super league. Super league is famous term. Then G is game. So from this super league game, you can take the first letter. What is this? This is a phrase mnemonic, which we saw previously. S L G. S denotes solid, L denotes liquid, and G denotes gas. So from this, you can easily remember. See, we know that concept, but student at their level, it will be kind of difficult for them to remember. So from this part, you can easily make the mnemonic for this, and how you will relate this solid liquid gas with a comparison or analogy. Listen here. See, very easy part. We will take a day-to-day example, like a bus or a metro. Okay. So what does we are going to explain here is that how solids will be packed in a system. They'll be very closely or tightly packed. Is it right? Okay. When we go in metro or go in a bus in very peak hours or like a morning like 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, it's a school hours or college hours. What will be there? Very much high rush will be there. So that rush, very high rush, can be explained with the property of a solid. So solid, the property will be very closely packed. The atoms will be closely packed. So like that you can understand. So next coming to the liquid. In afternoon part, the rush will not be that much. Maybe the people will travel, but they will not travel very frequently. So the rush will be very much minimal. So liquids have loosely packed atoms, so they can easily move here and there. And finally, gas. Gas are very freely packed. That you can take an example like late night, like for example 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. That at that time there will not be that much rush. So very much free in the bus. Only like 5 to 10 people will be present in the bus. So like this day-to-day example, when you combine both mnemonics and analogy, it is very much effective for a student to learn much better. So I hope I have given a much clearer example and much clearer concept on what is mnemonic and what is analogy. And I thought of giving some my examples in this class, but the time is over. But in next session, if next lecture, you are going to see, you will see in deep about that. So last but not least, I encourage you to leave here today and create just one mnemonic or one analogy for a tough concept, which you will teach in this week, so that you can see the example, you can see the difference which makes. So I hope you are all clear with this concept, uh, mnemonic and analogy. Okay. Uh, I'll just take some 2 minutes lastly. Uh, in my school days, no one taught me what is mnemonic and what is analogy. Okay. When I was doing MSc internship in University of Madras, one entrepreneurship, one entrepreneur came for giving a lecture, academic, like the same academic lecture for like a half an hour to 1 hour. He just came like wearing some like high brand value shirts and pants, and he just started by saying that what is mnemonic. Just blindly he started. What is mnemonic? No one knew in the class like 5 to 10 years before. At the time, what he told is that he teaches his son. He has a son, it seems. He teaches his son with the concept called mnemonic. For each and every word or everything he teaches, he will relate that concept with some other concept or like mnemonics, so that his son will be much more effective. Because in his company, he did some analogy, it seems. I don't know what does it seem. He's like a business entrepreneur. He has came up with the idea. So from his only, he was the inspiration for me. From him only, I learned this concept, and I from that day till today, I am teaching the students with this concept called mnemonics and analogies. So like this, you can teach this teach your students very much easily. So I hope you are clear with the concepts. If you need it, I will just share this PDF to say Salim sir, and you can also take an example of this. Okay, sir. I hope I have given something useful for you in this lecture, and I hope to be very much useful for you in future also. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Really interesting and useful presentation. You are a senior retired professor from chemistry department. Janab Dr. M. Abdul Kamal Nasser Saab has prized you. If you see the chat, there he has given his remark about your presentation. Excellent session you have done. For the first time you have done for OMIET. Hope we will make use of you in future also. So many things we have learned. What is mnemonics? What is it is just a simple memory device, acronyms and acrostics, rhymes and songs, chunking. So many methods you have told us. So anything suitable for us, the teachers can use. So Kamal Nasser sir is there. If he want, he can put some words.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Uh, Brother Raees, Alhamdulillah, good and useful session. Particularly, the analogy is very useful in teaching science. Particularly, as you said, no, certain things what we teach the student cannot see. How the heart function, student cannot see. So many things what we teach in science, a student may not see directly. In such cases, analogy is the best way to relate to what he see and he can understand. Very good, as well as the mnemonic is a very good technique, particularly in science and all the other subjects. Very good session, Race. Alhamdulillah.
So with
Okay, sir.
this,
Jazakallah, sir.
the programs comes to end. We will meet the next week, next Saturday.